Cooper Mays here. Hit like and subscribe.
He said it right there. The drop actually played. Cooper Mays joins us for the Vol Report, brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning. Coop, how are you, sir?
That's great. I'm feeling great. That was great.
You go ahead and will you tell everybody live to like, subscribe, and set notifications on? It's perfect.
Yeah, like, subscribe, and set your notifications on, guys.
There we go. All right, visiting with
Our
Cooper.
lives depend on it.
What is that?
Our lives depend on it.
That's right. They do. Cooper joins us, brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning, cityheatandair.com. And off-season workouts continue, strenuous, certainly, no doubt about it. But this is kind of the time of year that in my history of covering football, there's a little bit more free time. Coop, is that fair to say?
Yeah, definitely fair to say. That's definitely fair.
Well, and there's a little more free time for guys to get in trouble. I'm looking back over Josh Heupel's career, and I don't think he gets enough credit during his time at Tennessee for the fact that his program and you guys have been very disciplined. There's been very few off the field issues. What do you make of that?
I would say that I think Heupel and his staff do a really good job of finding guys that are like-minded to their way of thinking, and I think they recruit good human beings. And I think that's a really huge part of their recruiting process, and like making sure that they line up with the values that we hold as a team. So I think that's what I would attribute it to, and it's not really surprised because our leadership from the top down, like from coach down, is we all preach the same message of accountability. So I feel like if you're on the team, they feel that you're a good human being and that you do what's right. When it comes down to it, you're going to do the right thing.
That says a lot because, as I've mentioned before, and you've told me you're a big recruiting fan. Most guys just want the 5 stars, and they don't care what they do off the field.
Yeah, I mean that's probably what most people would think, and the most common thought process for most coaching staffs. But our coaches truly do hold a lot of stock in the human being off the field too. So.
Yeah, and you've talked about some of the rules that have been out there. I know we talked about he's not a big fan of guns and that sort of thing. But how much of following rules is doing what the coach tells you as opposed to making sure that you don't let your teammates down?
Well, I think the big thing is that it's not like a separated thing, if that makes sense. I think everybody, that's what kind of makes us successful, is that everybody's preaching the same message, from top down, that, doing what's best to the team and following what coach says. Like, it all goes hand in hand. You know what I'm saying? So our coaches always put us in positions that they feel like will better us as men and better us as a team. So realistically, if you're not doing what they say and you're going against the rules, then inevitably it's going to probably lead to a bad outcome, because they're not going to waste their time and their breath saying something that's not going to help us as people and as football players.
What are your personal guidelines for making sure you stay out of trouble? I remember my grandfather used to say nothing good happens after midnight. But just to stay out of even a situation that could result in trouble, what do you do to make sure you stay out of those?
I don't know. I'm not really in the mix of things, really. Like, I don't know. Y'all can probably tell by the way what I talk about. I kind of stay out of the way for most of, like, just anything that's a big deal, or anything that's going on that stuff could go awry. I'm not really a big fan of that. I've got a little bit of anxiety in me, so I don't know if I do anything, but anxiety will definitely tell you when something's not right. So, follow your gut and stuff. If you think stuff's going to go wrong, I'm probably not going to be anywhere near it. So that's probably the rules I live by. If something's going to go wrong, I'm probably not even going to go anywhere near it.
So, like the spider sense that Spider-Man had, you've got the Cooper sense.
Something like that,
Just like a buzzing.
I was raised pretty well, I feel like. So, I can judge right from wrong.
Well, absolutely, no question about it. And I do think, though, that there are situations in which athletes, particularly high profile athletes, um, can be kind of targeted by people. Have you ever faced a situation in which somebody's been maybe a little bit too in your face for whatever reason?
I mean, yeah, I think anytime, like me personally, I don't like being around drunk people because I don't like to drink myself. So, anytime people get drunk and then you're not drunk, it seems like everything that they do is like amplified by 1,000. So I feel like I get really uncomfortable when people are all up in my face and just doing too much anyway. But I don't think anybody's really like tried to goad me or like really entice me into doing something that I would regret. But I think people are just too much in general in environments that, in that environment.
Is that something that you get warned about as far as people trying to goat you? Because I could certainly see that happen, and I believe it has happened in guys that I've covered that got in trouble over the years.
Yeah, my dad used to talk about it because my dad used to, when he talked about like going out and stuff, they would never really go out like on the camp, like on the strip or like close to campus. They would try to kind of get away from campus and, get a good like 15, 20 minutes away and find spots where them and all their buddies could hang out. Cause everybody would always try to, everybody tries to pick fight. When people try to pick fights, they always try to pick fights with the big dudes, like try to prove something or something. People get a little bit courageous. Or on the other hand, if you're big like us, like the people that I hang around with, like my own life, like if I'm going out with Darnell and Cade and Trey and Jerome, people are not gonna people are not gonna like fight us fair. You know what I'm saying? So like you never know what you can get into. So I always try to stay far away from anything because even the smallest person that you may whoop the crap out of for doing something wrong, A, it's gonna get you in trouble. And then B, you never know if that person may have a gun or a knife or whatever. So I'm not I just stay far away from anything. I'm also pretty easygoing. So I mean, if me and you are in an argument in a fight, it's probably you did something really wrong.
Yeah, and if it's you and me in particular, I'm going to lose. Um, fight. I don't like my chances at all. So when Cooper does cut loose, and I know you're a big gamer, but when you do cut loose, where do you go? Do you like going to see a movie? And then on the flip side, what is the absolute worst environment you can imagine that other people enjoy?
Oh Lord. That people enjoy. I don't know. I feel like I've got to separate this into two questions. I don't know. I mean, I will go out with my friends occasionally. Like, I mean, it's not, I'm not like, I'm not anti-fun or anything. Like, I don't enjoy going out like that and, whatever. It's not my gig. But if I'm with my friends who I'm really close with and they're all back in town, like, yeah, I'll go out and have fun with them. But other than that, I'm not really the go out type. But then on the other hand, what was the second part of the question? I forgot what you said.
Yeah, I mean, what do you like doing? Is it a movie or is it what might it be when you and your buddies get together, just hitting wings or whatever?
Oh yeah, I'm big on dinner, fellowship. I think breaking bread is a great way to, signify friendship and everything. So I'm big on that. I'll go out, hit the bar, get a drink or two with that my special guys or whatever. But yeah, I'm not big on the going out scene. What other people would enjoy, I don't know. A lot of people go into like just any type of bar scene where people are dancing and doing karaoke and all that stuff. Not my gig, man. Not my gig.
It is official. You and I agree on a lot of things, but there's another one. Karaoke's the worst.
Yeah, not my gig.
I mean, how you could take a great song and butcher it is just beyond me.
Yeah, not my gig.
If you had to sing a karaoke song, what would it be? The challenge is real.
I have no clue. This is a good question because I've been wondering what I would sing for my one song. I don't know.
Well, mine was Baby Got Back, and I got pulled off the stage. So it didn't go well. So speaking of going out, you want to go ahead and hitch up and go to the Foo Fighters with me at Bonnaroo? You down with that?
Yeah, let's go to Bonnaroo.
That's exactly
Yeah,
what Josh Heupel wants is me to take you to Bonnaroo.
that's what we need.
All right, so it is Father's Day. You mentioned your dad who played for Tennessee, and I love me some Kevin Mays. I think he's fantastic. How important has your dad been and getting you to this point, both as a football player and a man?
Crucial because, people, I've been lucky and fortunate enough to have a dad that's been in my life every day and, going to be there no matter what's going on, really. So I was just talking to somebody about how me and Cade used to be out in the field working with, hand shields and bags and stuff, and we'd be doing football drills. So he taught us really, you know, obviously the game's changed a lot since he's played, and we've learned a lot extra in these last few years being in college football and K being in the pros. But other than that, the basics of football and how to play the game and knowing the right way to play, I mean, that was all him.
How would you describe your relationship with your dad? You refer to him as Kevin sometimes, which is funny, I think.
I don't think I'm more over on the side of Big Kev. That's probably
Okay, Big Kev.
my alias. But he's me and him are tight, man. He was really really hard on us sometimes during football, and that definitely made us butt heads. But other than that, man, yeah, we're tight. He's at every game. I'm sure everybody heard him. I'm sure everybody heard him. Everywhere in the stadium. So he was very very supportive, very very passionate for sure.
When he was hard on you, I'm curious what the message was. Again, the Vol Report with Cooper Mays brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning. Go to cityheatandair.com. Integrity matters. The temperature is going to rise. Your HVAC unit may go down. And if it does, then it may not need to be replaced. Just may need a new part or cool it. City Heating and Air Conditioning, cityheatandair.com. They can take care of you because 50 years in East Tennessee, integrity matters. So when did you guys butt heads, or how did he push you, or what were some of those moments like as he's molding you as a young man and a football player?
Really, just when me and Kay didn't really have good games, and we weren't playing hard. If we weren't playing well, it was you were going to hear about it for sure. So I think it was just him pushing us, to be great and pushing us to another level. And it's hard to realize it in the moment, but it'll make you better in the long run.
When did you start to realize it? Was it high school, middle school?
Probably college.
Really?
Yeah, for sure.
So at what point, what realization was there that he pushed you so hard to get you to a point it wasn't just to be a mean dad?
I mean, just really, you kind of grow up and you realize that there's like a healthy level of pressure. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, it's hard to find that perfect medium or whatever, or that fine line, but it's hard. But there's definitely a healthy level of pressure on a kid. If that makes sense. I know a lot of people that didn't have a lot of pressure on them growing up, and it ended up being worse for them in the long run. It's good to have your kid worried about making a bad grade, or I just think the main thing is you got to give your best every single time, and you gotta approach stuff the right way. So if you're gonna do something, you're gonna go out there and you're gonna do it 100%, and you're gonna do it the right way. So when that's molded in you, and that there's no choice, that you've got to play this way, or else it's not going to be good on the ride home. You know what I'm saying? So it definitely raises your level of your level of doing things. I definitely didn't ever go out there thinking that I could go half speed. So I've always played the game at one speed and the way I was taught, and I was held to that standard. So holding people to a high standard and a high level of accountability will help them produce better results and be better, better humans in the long run.
For those that don't know, your dad was going to be a highly drafted player, and then there was a freak injury right before the draft. For you and Cade, is there any positive, good pressure to kind of live up to that and do some things that he couldn't do because of the injury?
No, not really. I'd say probably there was like some pressure to when we were young and when we were kids to be good at football and go somewhere to college pretty decent. So I guess there was some pressure back then, but never really now. I mean, he was really good, like, and gonna get drafted, but I guess theoretically, Kate has been in the NFL and my dad hasn't. So I mean, obviously there's levels to it. Nobody really feels pressure about it, but definitely when we were younger, yeah.
What's your favorite dad story? Give me a favorite dad story.
Um, like a story he's told, or just like story.
No, something he's done that just really embodies him as a person because he's a funny guy. He is a great guy, a nice guy, all the above, but he can be intense too. And I mean that in a good way.
Oh yeah, I mean definitely you could have multiple stories. You know, I mean you could definitely see different sides of Kev, but I mean I think the best way to encapsulate him is just I think there's the side that you get like when you're hunting with him and just, you know, it's fun and games and telling stories and stuff. And that's how you think of one way. And then there's the Knoxville Catholic High School football field where, you know, we're in the high school playoffs and, you know, Big Kev's all mad and angry and, you know, just because that's how it is in football and that's how he's gonna be. And there's a lady over here shaking a like a rock and it's like a milk carton and they just filled it with rocks. So they're shaking it back and forth and there's rocks just banging. So and all these Marshall County fans have them. So everybody's sitting there and I've got like a 2-year-old little brother at this time who's real young, real young, and he's trying to sleep. And obviously, you know how babies are. You can't sit there with a milk carton with rocks and just shake it by a baby's head one row down. So my dad at this point, he's you know how it is. I mean, he's ready to go. So he's just sitting on go anyway. And then he's like, oh my God, my little kid's up here trying to sleep, and these people are making him cry. So I don't know what it was, maybe like halftime, like third quarter, something like that. He had enough of it. And this lady had gotten up, they had scored, and she was shaking it. And man, he grabbed out of her head and just whoa. And they were at the top, they were like midway through the stands. And he took it and threw it, and this went out of the stadium into the trees. Never found it. They posted him on Facebook and everything. They're like, this man threw my jug.
That is golden.
Didn't care, big kid didn't care, man. So it wasn't nothing to him.
Didn't care.
No.
He's Cooper Mays of All Report with Coop is brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning. Go to cityheatandair.com. Check them out. This has been a presentation of Off the Hook Sports.